Joining us now, Ian Prior, Communications Director for American Crossroads, and Corey Elens, former Communications Advisor to President Obama. Corey, I'm going to start with you because Donald Trump has done as well as he has in large part because he is appealing to people who want a disruptor in chief. They don't like the way the system is going. They feel like the odds are stacked against them, and they want somebody who's going to go to Washington and blow it up. Does his answer on this letter and on Susan Collins' refusal to vote for him, does that appeal to those people?
It may appeal to those people, but it doesn't appeal to the broader swath of the American people who Donald Trump should be trying to attract right now. And Susan Collins' latest move, this is consistent with what we've seen with Republicans over the past several weeks and even months. And it crescendoed at the Republican convention just a couple of weeks ago. Prominent Republicans throughout the party decided not to come to the convention because they could not stand to be seen with Donald Trump in public. And what's interesting about this in the case of Collins is that she was compelled to do this publicly, just as the 50 people who came out yesterday, the national security specialists who came out yesterday, these folks compelled to come out publicly because they see Donald Trump as such a danger to the American people. So I applaud them for choosing the country over their party, and I think you're going to see even more of this in the days and weeks ahead.
But Ian, as voters go to the booth, are they going to be thinking, wow, Governor Kasich didn't show up at the Republican convention, and neither did either of the past presidents Bush?
Yeah, that's extremely doubtful. In fact, I think if you look at the polls, over 60% of the people most likely think that this country is not headed in the right direction, especially when we get into national security. So I think what Donald Trump did was smart. He repositioned himself as the outsider. He didn't attack Susan Collins directly. He didn't attack any of these national security experts directly. But what he did do was group them together as the Washington establishment, and he is the outsider running against D.C. insiders. And I think that's smart for him to do. I think that's going to resonate with voters in Ohio, voters in Florida, and people that are concerned that this country is headed in the wrong direction. And there are a lot of them out there.
Yeah, the right track, wrong track numbers, Corey, are about 70% of Americans think we're on the wrong track. So they've got a choice between Hillary Clinton, who, Donald Trump is trying to portray her as a third term of President Obama. So how do they vote?
Well, let's look at what's happening here right now. You have mass defections happening on the Republican side of the House, and they are running away from Donald Trump at a time when he should be making a pivot, pulling more people in, and building a winning coalition, while at the same time on the Clinton side of the House with Democrats, we are more united as a party and as a community than ever before, probably in our history, quite frankly. And she's doing a very good job of being inclusive in her conversation with the American people. Again, even when you look back to the conventions, when Donald Trump was speaking, he was speaking to the people in the room, not people in their living rooms. Hillary Clinton was speaking to a broader swath of the American public. And finally, on Susan Collins, let's come back to this point. She hit him on national security, to be sure, but she also hit him on his temperament. The fact that he's gone after Gold Star families, the fact that he's gone after reporters with disabilities. He has demonstrated time and again that he does not have the temperament to be president of the United States. And those are the things that have put her over the top, folks like Governor Kasich over the top, and other Republicans over the top, and saying, you know what, I can't be silent about this. I need to speak up.
But Ian, some of these missteps that Corey was just pointing to, if that's how you want to characterize them, they happened a long time ago, and Donald Trump still won the Republican nomination.
Yeah, exactly. And let's talk about some of the things going on the Democratic side. Hillary Clinton last week once again gets on TV and lies about the email situation. What about what's going on with Iran? A scientist was just executed in Iran. There's a nuclear deal that is overwhelmingly disapproved by the American people that was initiated by Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. So if we're going to talk about national security, if we're going to talk about who's better to keep this country safe, we need to look at what Hillary Clinton has done when she was Secretary of State and the repercussions that are being felt across the Middle East, Europe, and at some point will work their way to America in what we can all fear to be something that we need to avoid.
4 months to go. We'll have you back another time to talk about the latest developments. Corey Elens and Ian Prior, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.